Golf Central on YouTube, brought to you by the Chrome Soft Golf Ball from Callaway.
Hello, I'm Anna Whiteley and welcome to Golf Central on YouTube. Well, major news for a major tournament. The PGA of America made the decision on Sunday night to move the 2022 PGA Championship from Trump National Golf Club in Bedminster. PGA of America President Jim Richardson said a statement that it became clear that conducting the PGA Championship at Trump Bedminster would be detrimental to the PGA of America. There's been no decision on a replacement venue, and Jimmy Roberts and Jaime Diaz talked with Richardson and Seth Waugh on Golf Today.
Gentlemen, good morning. Jim Richardson joins us from Arizona. Seth Waugh is in Florida. Seth, let me start with you. Was this decision made exclusively because of the events that transpired in Washington on Wednesday, or was it under consideration before?
Well, listen, Jimmy, last week was tragic no matter what your perspective is, right? And it became clear to us that our brand was, at risk. Our job is to be fiduciaries for our members first, our mission and the game. And, my job and Jim's job and the board's job is to kind of leave the room better than we found it. And in this case, we thought we were putting at risk that mission with our, if we were to hold it at Trump Bedminster. The championship is a big part of our ecosystem, a big part of what we do. And it was really, as I say, as much a business decision and a fiduciary decision is really the perspective that the board came at it from.
And Jim, was this a difficult decision?
Well, I think right now in the country, everybody views almost any decision that's being made as, political. And we try to take politics out of it. And again, just get back and focus on our brand and what's best for growing the game and best for the game of golf. So I think these days, every decision that's made that affects as many as 28,000 members of our association and all those that love and enjoy the game is difficult. So we gave it a very thoughtful process, and we wanted to make sure we were doing the best thing long term for our members and for our association. But at the end of the day, we all believe it was absolutely the right decision to be made.
I'll toss this out to either of you. You say you all believe it was the right decision to be made. Was the decision unanimous?
We've got a lot of people that weighed in. Our board took the time and was very diligent in this process. And again, at the end of the day, it was the decision that was right for our association moving forward.
Seth, let me follow.
Jimmy, this is a.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
This is a very weighty. No, I'm sorry. Jim's absolutely right, and this is a very weighty decision, right? And we did an awful lot of thinking about it, a lot of diligence, a lot of scenario analysis, and it certainly isn't easy, right? But we think we did it in the sort of right amount of time, and proper use of our governance system, and timely but not rushed. And so we I think everyone in the boardroom feels really good about the process and how we came out at the end.
Seth, has Donald Trump been good or bad for the game of golf?
That's an interesting question, Jaime. I know he has a passion for it. I know he's certainly done an awful lot of good. He owns some of the great properties on the planet, and I think he's been a good steward for those properties. And I know he has an abiding love for the game, and I hope he continues to have a home in it. It's just that we really felt that we were being put in a position where our brand was at risk. As Jim said, we're a perpetual institution, right? We've got to make sure that this lasts for another 100 years. And we really thought we were putting that mission at risk by playing the tournament at Bedminster.
Yeah. Michael Jordan once famously said that Republicans buy sneakers too. A lot of people will agree with your decision, and you've touched on this a little bit already, but what do you say to the people out there who are not in agreement with you and who are outraged?
Well, I think Jim has said it well. We, look, we, at the end of the day, we realize, 50% of the, roughly 50% of the country voted each way, a month and a half ago. So we're not naive about the fact that there will be detractors. We really had to look at this in a prism of what's in the best interest, the long-term best interest of our brand, of our business, of our members, of our mission, and of the game. And in doing that, we came to as we've said, a difficult decision, but one that we think is the right one, and one that we will defend, and we will, engage with those that disagree, and we welcome those opinions. We don't shy away from those. We have 28,000 members, right? We're the largest sports organization on earth. Of course, we're going to have a very broad, diverse view. We think that's one of our strengths, frankly, that we do represent, America, and we do represent, the world. And so we welcome those views. We don't shy away from them. We hope they can understand that we made this, again, not in a political statement, but as as the caretakers for our mission and our game as fiduciaries, and that we really believe that this was the right decision to perpetuate our institution in the best possible way, and the mission and the game, which is what my job is, what Jim's job is, and all the board member and everybody that works at the PGA of America is to promote our mission, serve our members, elevate the game, and grow the game.
Seth Waugh and Jim Richardson of the PGA of America, as I was just about to say, turbulent times in America. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us and all you do for the game, guys.
Thank you.
Well, clearly a decision that hasn't been taken lightly by the PGA of America. And on Monday, the R&A released their official statement on upcoming Open Championship venues, saying, quote, "We had no plans to stage any of our championships at Turnberry and will not do so in the foreseeable future. We will not return until we are convinced that the focus will be on the championship, the players and the course itself, and we do not believe that is achievable in the current circumstances." Now, earlier on Golf Today, we discussed this intricate issue.
Well, I think, Anna, this represents the culmination of what has been a long downward slide in the relationship between Donald Trump and the powers that be in the game of golf. And that's a relationship that started out troubled, but frankly, because of Donald Trump's tendency towards grandiose statements and grandstanding. The relationship then became tainted when he came down that escalator in Trump Tower and launched his presidential campaign with a racist broadside at Mexican immigrants. And finally, by the time we got to this point, it's downright toxic. And this isn't just a reaction, I think, to what has happened in the last few days or even the last few weeks. This is a hedge by the PGA of America against what may yet come, which none of us actually know what that is. But that 22 PGA Championship is held during a midterm election year, and it seems fanciful to think that Donald Trump will be any less incendiary a public figure 16 months from now than he is at the moment. And I just don't think the PGA of America is willing or able to take the potential financial and reputational exposure of that association.
Yeah, I think, Eamon, you're onto something, of course, in terms of the potential for Donald Trump to still have the same kind of toxic effect. I think he's been somewhat, neutralized by being banned from Twitter. That's always been his biggest tool against his opponents. And by not having it, I think the PGA of America can feel a little safer that they're not going to be out in the public forum and had mud thrown at them so much. But, I think it was the right thing for the game. There's all these other financial considerations and business considerations and branding, but the PGA of America, just like the USGA and the R&A, really represent the game. And this, Donald Trump's actions, in particular recently, are antithetical to the values of golf. And to associate with that kind of behavior is almost anti-golf. If you're going to be scrutinized, you're going to look like a hypocrite. So I think really Seth Waugh, articulated it. He just couldn't do it. He couldn't keep going. You had to separate, and much of the world is separating from Donald Trump. And it's a hardball situation because that's how Donald Trump plays. But it's the way it has to be done because it is the means to the right end. And I think right now it's uncomfortable, but it's something that the PGA of America did, I think, boldly and held their head high through something difficult.
Eamon, to me, it just seems like this is the latest example of the fact that sports and golf just doesn't exist in a vacuum, does it?
No, shut up and dribble has just never seemed more inappropriate, Jimmy, because, sports is life for a lot of people, and they certainly intersect in quite a few ways. And, Donald Trump is a golfer. He may actually be more of a golfer than he is a politician, frankly, because people underestimate just how long and how hard and how assiduously Donald Trump worked to get that major championship. And I think even the people in his inner circle would tell you it probably meant more to him than the pursuit of the presidency did 5 years ago when he began that campaign. And to have it taken away from him, I actually think will hurt worse than losing the election did. But, he really only has himself to blame in this situation, Jimmy. He's created the environment that left his potential partners inside the world of golf with no other option. And frankly, the R&A are probably sitting over there in St Andrews quite happy that they got sucked into this situation far less than the USGA or the PGA of America have.
Golf is a huge passion of Donald Trump's. We know that. It's the sport that he is the most connected to out of any sport. He owns at least 17 golf clubs around the world. A lot of those are in Florida, more to be opening up in Dubai and Indonesia. Jaime, he's not going anywhere in the world of golf. Where is his role now?
Well, it may be isolated to his own places. Had he accepted the election in an orthodox way and committed to a peaceful transfer of power and, gone into the distance with some dignity in terms of being a former president, instead of now not even attending the inauguration, he might have had, a future in professional golf, not professional golf, but, the organizations that put on these great tournaments that he wants to be so associated with. But his behavior has just made him, a pariah, basically. And so, yes, he's going to have his golf courses, but it's going to be like, Xanadu and Citizen Kane. I mean, he's going to be staying there, or maybe Mar-a-Lago. He is not part of the greater world of golf anymore, nearly to the same extent that he wanted to be or tried to be and was for a short time.
And it's also worth noting, Jaime, that if he is a pariah personally, he's also rendered some of the great venues in professional golf history as untouchable as well. I mean, even his critics would say that the renovation that his team did at Turnberry in Scotland was fantastic on what was already one of the premier venues in the world of golf. But now that venue has been rendered untouchable by the R&A for the Open Championship. The same effect was held whenever he bought the Doral Resort in Miami, and the PGA Tour had held an event there from 1962 until 2016 when they were forced to move it because of the affiliations with Donald Trump. So his effect will be felt long after he himself has just retired to Bedminster to play golf every day.
Golf Central on YouTube, brought to you by the Chrome Soft Golf Ball from Callaway.